Alright guys, what's going on guys? It's your boy Kree here bringing you guys another Borderlands 3 video. And in this Borderlands 3 video, I'm going to be going over the Amara raid build. So real quick before I get into it, I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Hyphen. He gave me the baseline for this build, and I just want to give credit where credit is due to my boy. I'll leave a link down to his channel in the top of the description. But anyways, guys, we're going to ramble on any further. We're going to go ahead and jump straight into it. Alright guys, here we are at the build here. So yes, this is my first Amara build on the channel. It's taken me quite some time to get to it, but nonetheless we are here today. So we're going to quickly run over it. So starting things off, I want to note that my spiritual driver has additional bonuses of 1 into clarity, 3 into mindfulness, and then of course we have 1 into helping hand. So if you don't have a spiritual driver that specs into like that, you definitely you can take 1 out of Root to Rise, and you can take out a few out of Samsara in order to fully spec out your clarity, because you would definitely want to spec out your clarity and your mindfulness. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and run straight through most of everything else. So for me, I got Root to Rise gains 1 additional health, just 8% more tankiness to your overall survivability or durability here. Then we have personal space 0 to 3. Amara's weapon shots deal bonus damage based on the distance to her target. The closer to the target, the greater the bonus. It's going to go hand in hand with one of the main weapons for the build. Then we have clarity here. Amara constantly regenerates health. This is going to be some good health regeneration that you definitely want to max out. Helping hands for a few seconds after using her action skill. Amara's arms remain active and grant her damage reduction. Once again, applying some survivability and durability to yourself in this build. Then we have Samsara. Whenever Amara deals damage to an enemy with her action skill, she adds a stack of Samsara. For every stack of Samsara, Amara gains increased gun damage and health regeneration. Once again, adding more damage and more durability and survivability to the build. Then we have Mindfulness. Whenever Amara takes damage, she gains a stack of Mindfulness. For every stack of Mindfulness, Amara gains improved shield regeneration, delay, and movement speed. Stacks decay after a few seconds. This will allow you to zip around the map and make it to where you're a little bit harder to hit. And just overall allowing a nice overall flow to spread damage across the field against the enemies. Then down here we have 1 with Nature. Amara gains increased max health and elemental damage resistance to her action skill element, 25% max health and 40% elemental damage reduction. And then we have our safe haven here, our guardian angel. So real quick, we're going to come over to here to the Fist of Elements tree here. We're going to start from the top. Amara's status effects deal increased damage over time and have increased duration. Her action skill status effect deals further increased damage. Current status effect 20%, and then status effect duration 100%, and then effect damage 40%. Very useful ability here. Then we have Tempest. Amara deals increased elemental damage. Shock damage is further increased. That's great because we're going to be using some heavy shock weapons here on the build. Wildfire. Whenever Amara applies a status effect to an enemy, it has a chance to spread to a nearby enemy. Then we have Dread. Amara's gun damage is increased for a few seconds after an enemy is grasped. Okay, I didn't mention this, but we are going to be using phase grasps here. And then along with phase grasp, we're also going to be using Allure. Amara's active skill creates a singularity that pulls in enemies. Quick sidetrack. I'm using the shock element. If you want to use Incendiary for flesh, you can. And if you want to use corrosive for armor, you can here and here. But I'm using shock. Coming down here, we have Deep Well. Ooh. Amara gains increased magazine size with elemental weapons, 20% overall buff. This is very good because we're going to be using a lot of elemental weapons here. Then we have Indiscriminate. Amara's bullets that damage enemies have a chance to ricochet and deal decreased damage to other nearby targets. Ricochet chance and damage are increased if the target is currently affected by phase grasps or stillness of mind. Then we have Sustainment. Amara gains lifesteal whenever she deals elemental damage with her weapon. Once again, adding more sustainability to your build. And then to top of things off, we have Forceful Expression. Amara's guns deal bonus elemental damage based on her action skill element. Bonus elemental damage, 80% of the 80% damage dealt. So yeah, we're gonna mean shock here. So yeah, more shock damage is always good. So moving on over to the actual equipment here. So it's pretty flexible. The main thing I would highly recommend is definitely having a Brainstormer shotgun. This legendary is amazing. It chains lightning and it's a shock weapon, so once you're doing this in the raid, yeah, you're gonna need a lot of shock weapons. I actually took this over running a shock cutsman. However, if you want to run both, you totally can. I just highly recommend you have the brainstormer at a minimum for this build. So other weapons you want to run, definitely run a corrosive weapon of some sort. For instance, I would definitely say that a corrosive cutsman is definitely your best option. The cutsman's a very, very good SMG. Definitely probably the best SMG in this raid here. It's very strong in itself. That's why I'm running 2 here. I would run 3. If you want to run 3, you could run a shock one as well. I feel like I have enough shock damage with the brainstormer and my grenade, but I'll get to that in a point. I'll get to that later on. So our 4th weapon here. Okay, so this is when you can do a lot of switching up here. So I'm using a dictator. I like the dictator a lot. I got a corrosive one, so this would be great here in some of the armored enemies. You can change this up probably if you have something else you'd like. If you want to use a damned, you could. I know there's let's see. Oh yeah, here's my corrosive cutsman. Okay, well I was gonna say if you want to run a corrosive Lucian's Call, go for it. Or another thing you could do, if you're running low on ammo for your brainstormer, you can quickly change this over to a face puncher and this to a cut purse and shoot real quick, and then switch back to maximize your shotgun ammo. However, that's just something you can do at the side to constantly regenerate your ammo. You don't have to do that. Once again though, make sure you're running a brainstormer. Definitely run a cutsman of some sort. Definitely, if you have a corrosive cutsman, definitely put that on. I'm running an incendiary one for flesh damage. But if you want to run 3 cutsmans, you're totally welcome to. But other than that, I would say that the weapons are generally pretty flexible. So coming down here, shields, I'm definitely using a transformer because it's the raid. They're doing a lot of shock damage around you. If you don't want to use a transformer, another SMG, another shield I'd highly recommend is a not transformer. I'm using that. Where's my rise stopgap? Okay, well if you don't have a transformer, I would definitely recommend using a rise stopgap of some sort. Those are very strong shields and they can help you out. Your grenade, I'm using an electric Murphex. If you have a gas call, that works. Rain Firestorm works. If you have a damage reduction grenade of some sorts, that could also help, but I would just recommend an electric grenade or a corrosive grenade. So that's why I'm using the Murphex here. Obviously, we're going to be using the Spiritual Driver class mod. Not much else to say there. If you have a Spiritual Driver, make sure you're using it. And then your main artifact most of the time is going to be an elemental projector. This doesn't have to be just on a legendary. It can come on an epic. It's a prefix, meaning that it's not a certain specific artifact. It will just be added as a bonus on most artifacts. Basically, the reason why you want to run this, while suffering elemental effect, increase your damage with that same element. We have a 90% damage boost, so since we're using phase crash and we're using shock, that's going to give a big buff to our brainstormer here. That's why we're using the brainstormer mainly as our main damage dealer, and it will spread damage across the field pretty well. And then that's why we're using the Murphex here, because it's shock. Once again, I said earlier that if you are running low on the brainstormer, a quick thing to do is to change over this to a face puncher and then switch this to a cut purse. Cut purse is also a prefix, so it can come on also any legendary or epic. Just keep that in mind. However, once you do shoot a few bullets and with your face puncher, regen your ammo for your brainstorm, make sure you switch back over to the elemental projector. That is your main source of boosting your elemental damage. So yeah, that is going to just about wrap things up here for the build. If you guys did enjoy the build, make sure to let me know if you have any little critiques. I'll happily want to know down in the comments. Feel free to let me know down there. And yeah guys, that'll basically wrap up this little part of the video. We're going to go ahead and outro it out. So yeah. Well guys, that is going to just about wrap up the build here. I hope it helps you out in any way. If you have your own 2 cents on what you would do to the build to make it better for you personally, then please feel free to leave your 2 cents down in the bank below or in the comment section. I thought that was kind of clever, that's why I said it. The main thing I want to say about the build here is that you're mainly trying to use a brainstormer to spread good quality shock damage across the field there, and then have your corrosive cutsman clean up the armored enemies, or your incendiary cutsman finish up the rest. If you have any grenades, as I said earlier, feel free to change them. Feel free to tank it any way you want to. I just gave you a main baseline of it, but the most important thing to take away from it, the brainstorm with the elemental projectile and the spiritual driver are very, very important. Anyways though guys, that is going to just about wrap up the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, then make sure to drop your load on that like button, baby, and subscribe if you are new. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and give that bell down there a little bit of a love tap for me. I greatly appreciate it. Also, join our Discord. Shrine Discord is pretty lit. Me and my friends are in there pretty often doing dumb shit, hanging out. We play games and shit, so if you want to join us for stuff like that, totally feel free to join us. But anyways though, guys, my name's Kree, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, y'all.